Rode is known for making quality microphones, but in the last couple years, they've been expanding into audio and video accessories. Their latest additions are 2 new magnetic mounts for smartphone content creators. There's a simple mount with 2 cold shoe attachments and the full cage with multiple cold shoes and 1/4 inch and 3/8 mounting points for a full recording rig. Are they as high quality as Rode's other products? Let's take a closer look. Before we dive in, I want to mention that Rode sent me these magnetic mounts in exchange for an honest review. I was not paid to make this video, Rode has no input on my comments, and they will not see the video before it's published. If these become available on Amazon, I'll be adding an Amazon affiliate link in the description if you're interested in picking up either of these magnetic mounts and you'd like to support this channel. Okay, so let's start by looking at the basic features of each of these mounts. First up, they are compatible with both iPhones that have the MagSafe mount and Android phones that have a magnetic mount in the case. Let's start with the simpler mount here, which they just call the magnetic mount. There are just 4 pieces here. We've got the magnetic mount itself, then we've got 2 cold shoe attachment arms that you can insert into 3 different positions, essentially at 90-degree angles here. You've got the option to connect the arms on the left, the right, or on top, and you connect them very simply by just inserting them. Just like that. They do feel very sturdy to me, and while rotating would be a more custom positioning, I think not having any screw to tighten here or any moving parts likely makes this more sturdy. I like that they include 2 arms that can be used at the same time here, because even though this is sort of a minimalist type mount, you could easily have more than one thing that you want to attach, like, I don't know, say a microphone or the receiver for a wireless microphone, as well as a light. All right. Next up, we have the phone cage with the same magnetic mount. Now, the only thing that doesn't come with it here is this little quick release adapter that I have on here. This is from Ulanzi, but you can screw on any tripod plate or quick release that you want here because there's multiple. There's 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch mounts here. So any attachment that you have is gonna work. Now, where the magnetic mount was a simple, minimal type of mount, the phone cage goes in the opposite direction here and gives you not 2 or 3, but 5 cold shoe mounts, plus several 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch mounting points. And there are several holes for locating pins as well on some of these mounts. In the corners, there are also these slots for cable management. Mounting your phone is, again, very simple with the magnet, but you can rig this out with a full studio recording setup. So let's do that. Now, this footage is coming from my iPhone 15 Pro Max mounted in the Rode phone cage. And this is my full studio recording setup. I've got everything that I need here, and I'm using the Blackmagic camera app for full control over all of the camera and audio settings. You can, of course, also use Rode Capture to simplify things a little bit. I personally like to shoot an Apple log and have just all of the control over all of the external devices. Now, I've got a lot of external devices connected here. The heart of my setup is a USB-C hub that's running to my iPhone. To that USB-C hub, I have connected an external hard drive, so I'm recording externally and not taking up the storage space on my iPhone. I have an external monitor connected to the HDMI port on the hub so that I can see myself, I can get the framing right, I can check the audio levels and make sure I'm still recording. For audio, I'm using a Rode VideoMic Go 2 connected over USB to the hub, and I could have just mounted this using one of the cold shoe mounts on the cage, but I like to use a little friction arm, one of those little magic arms, a really small one, because it kind of gives me a more custom positioning. I can get it just right out of frame, but pointed right at my mouth, but that is still holding on to the side of the cage. The only thing here that's not mounted directly to the cage is the power source. So you do, of course, if you're using this many external devices with your phone, have to have a power source because your phone's not going to provide enough bus power for all of these things. And I could just plug in a wall charger to the power delivery port, but I use a portable power bank so that I can actually just position this anywhere and not worry about being close to the wall. You've got a ton of ways to get really high quality audio into smartphone video or tablet video thanks to that USB connection, because any USB mic, really, you can get directly in there recording really high quality. So you can use an off-camera mic like I'm using right now with the VideoMic Go 2, or you could use an on-camera microphone like the PodMic USB here, or any USB microphone that you connect to your phone or to your USB-C hub. Or you could even go all out and connect a Rodecaster Duo or Rodecaster Pro 2 or any audio interface with any XLR microphone into your USB-C hub and get amazing quality audio right into your phone. So this type of setup can be perfect if you're doing a video podcast. Now we've got the phone cage set up with a full recording rig here and a portable power bank providing the power for the whole setup. The thing that's tricky with this is if you need to or like to use external filters for your phone's camera, because most of the filter adapters or attachments on the market for smartphones, a lot of them anyway, I shouldn't say most, a lot of them use 67mm filters. At least all of the ones that I own use 67mm filters, and I found that size to really get in the way of the magnetic mount. In fact, I have a couple different ones, including a Polar Pro phone case with a 67mm filter attachment that does not work. It just will not mount. I was able to get one that works, but it is very finicky and it kind of just barely works. I should point out this is not entirely Rode's fault, because Rode can't control the location of where the magnetic mount is on the phone or on the case. Otherwise though, it does work perfectly as a mobile recording rig if you need more of a full rig versus just what the regular phone mount can provide with the two cold shoe attachments. And just to be clear, not being able to use all filters that you may already have with the cage and your phone doesn't necessarily mean you can't use it at all outside. It just means you won't be able to shoot in lower shutter speeds and keep that 180-degree shutter angle. I shouldn't make it sound like a deal breaker, because it's not, depending on what type of shooting you do. So that is one small advantage to non-magnetic smartphone cages like this one here from SmallRig. This is one that I had been using until Rode sent me these, and it's got a universal clamp style mount for your phone. As you can see, my Polar Pro phone case with the filter adapter here fits just fine, because I can actually, slide the phone back and forth here until it fits in place. Whereas with the Rode cage here, which is magnetic, you've only got just that one spot where it's going to attach, and then the filter is going to bump into it here because it's not perfectly centered where the magnet is. While we're comparing these though, I do have to say that the Rode cage feels like it's made a bit better, and it does have several more mounting points on it than the SmallRig cage does. So while this is going to be a lower price point, we'll talk more about price in a moment, it doesn't have nearly the number of mounting points. It does have 4 cold shoe mounts, which is nice, but it doesn't have nearly the number of 1/4 or 3/8 mounting points that the Rode cage does here, and it also doesn't feel quite as sturdy. Okay, so let's talk about pros and cons for both of these mounts, and then also the price. The more basic magnetic mount is going to be priced at $90 US, according to what Rode told me, and the phone cage here will be priced at $120 US. Now, as far as pros go here, in general, I do like the magnetic mount because it's faster and more convenient than other mounting types. You don't need to have multiple hands to attach or detach your phone. Assuming this is, firmly mounted to a tripod, it's easy to just pop this on and off. You can do it with one hand. And Rode did a good job with the magnetic mount itself. It feels very solid and sturdy, and I trust that it will hold my phone in place. For the simpler mount here, I also like that you get 2 cold shoe mounts instead of just one, so that's definitely a plus. And for the cage, you've got a ton of mounts here. They definitely didn't skimp on that, so you can attach anything that you need. Overall, the construction of both is also very good, which I would expect for the price, but it's worth pointing out, I'm not disappointed at all with the construction quality. Now, when it comes to downsides, I really only see a couple things here, one that applies to both and a couple that apply only to the cage. So for the cage, because of the location of magnetic mounts on phones, you won't be able to use it with all filter adapters on the market. So you're gonna need to find a filter adapter that fits with the cage, and that could be a frustration if you've already got an adapter that you like. Now, I also think it would be nice for Rode to include a pair of side handles like these. These are just cheap handles that I got on Amazon. You can just hold on to the sides of the cage if you're doing handheld filming, but I personally like the control you get better from a pair of side handles like this, so I think this would have been a nice addition with the cage. And lastly, I think the price is really the only other issue here, and that does apply to both. I would expect to pay a higher price for a magnetic phone mount versus a universal clamp style mount. I would also expect to pay a little more for better construction quality, but I think, in my opinion, the price is just a little bit high for both of these. Now, in all fairness, one of the direct competitors is the Moment magnetic phone cage, which is also priced at $120 in the US, so Rode's phone cage is not more expensive than one of its direct competitors. And I just think Rode had a little bit of an opportunity here to either include the handles or undercut this one a little bit on the price and present a better value than the competition. But just considering the quality and the features of these without regard to the price, I do recommend them if you've got the budget and you want a magnetic mount for content creation that is more sturdy and not cheaply made. So that'll do it for this video. Let me know what you think of the phone cage and the magnetic mount from Rode. Let me know if you end up picking up one or both of these for yourself and how you're liking it. Don't forget to subscribe to the Semi-Pro Tech and Gear channel, and while you're here, why don't you check out one of these videos? I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks everybody. See you next time.